Hey guys, welcome back to my Scratch tutorial. So basically, I'm gonna start, this is the second intro, and I'm not really gonna show you how to do much. I'm just gonna start explaining where everything is. You can totally skip this video if you don't want to watch it, but I do kind of recommend you watch it if you want, like, more or less if you want to. So, I'm using the offline editor to reduce lag. It's more or less the same thing. So let's begin. So first, there's the stage. This is where all the action goes on. So far I have one sprite, which if you double click on the sprite, it tells you where it is. Then there's this little button. You press it and that's pretty much full screen mode and small screen mode. Let's see. Then there is, I'm not going to go over this because you really only need this when you're using the offline editor, and I think most of you would be using the online editor. So then, here are the sprites. The sprites are like, let's say, objects. Yeah, and then there is the stage, which is the background. As you can see, there are these three tabs. The scripts, which is basically the code. Then there's the costumes, where you basically get to like change the costumes to make them like look different. You can draw with the brush, or you can make a line, or you can use the rectangle. Yeah, I just made some really ugly stuff. Then, if you go to the really bottom, you can see that this is Bitmap Mode. What Bitmap Mode basically is, it is like the pixels on your screen. It's all blocky. So over here, as you can see, there's a zoom out button, equal button, which is 100%, and then there's a zoom in button, 200%. And like I said, if you zoom in, the maximum zoom in is 1600. But as you can see right here, it looks like a bunch of squares. And if you actually use Victor, there won't be that many squares. Now, how you know it's Victor and Bitmap is that Victor is over here, whereas Bitmap is on the left. So you're going to equal, and I'm just going to quickly fill this back up with white. Now, the cool thing about Victor is that it actually doesn't have, it's not pixelated. And once you make like larger projects, Victor actually uses less storage, which is another thing you only worry about once you have the offline editor. So I don't care. Next is sounds. Now, for example, this is the pop sound. You can easily add more sounds from the, you can upload a sound, or you could record a sound. As you can see, you can fiddle with it, microphone volume. Normally, I set it to the highest so that I can make my recording sound really loud. So that's basically how that works. And then there are edit. You can undo, you can redo, you can cut, you can copy, you can paste, you can delete, like what I'm about to do, and you can select all. Then there's the effects like fade in. Actually, I'm going to have to record another thing to show you. This is a test recording. Please stand by. So this allows it to fade in, meaning that it's really low, like really silent from the beginning, and it just gets louder. Or you could do the fade out, where it's really quiet at the beginning and it just gets louder. Then there's louder, which makes it louder and louder. And this is as loud as it gets. And then there's silence, meaning nothing. Nah, I don't like silence. Then there's reverse, where you can actually reverse what is on there. Wait. There's another thing. Oh, and if you record something else, you can actually just select certain sections and play them. And do this. Okay, I think we covered the sounds. Now I'm going to go back into the lovely objects that are apparently called Sprite. And now I can actually go through the blocks. Okay, so first there are the motion blocks. All the blocks have different colors, which is the easiest way to tell them apart. So motion blocks make them like move 10 steps. See, it just moved 10 steps. Then there is the turn 15 degrees, which turns it clockwise, counterclockwise. Then there's point in direction 90 degrees. 90 degrees is upwards, which is, it's actually to the right. Wait, what? Okay, whatever, I'll just call it right. And then negative 90 is to the left. And this is up. And so. Next is point towards mouse pointer. So wherever your mouse pointer is, it will just point towards it. See? Like that. And there's the glide. So if I move this to somewhere else, you just click, drag, and hold, and then drag them somewhere, you can see that it moves. I mean, glides to there. Then there's change X by 10. And so on and so forth. So that's our motion sprites. And there's a cleanup feature, which if you right click, there's this cleanup that happily organizes all your blocks for you. Then we have the looks. Looks is basically what the name tells you. It's what the sprite looks like. So for example, you can say hello for 2 seconds. Or you can permanently say hello. Or you could think for 2 seconds. Or you can just permanently think Okay, these are the show and hide blocks. I'm going to show you hide first. So when you click hide, it's gone. It's nowhere to be found. And then once you click show, it magically appears again. Then there are the costume sprites. I'm just going to quickly center this. There's a costume 1 and 2. Oh, if I didn't cover this yet, but you can actually name the costumes. So to whatever you want. Switch it to this. Well, it's already that. So let's switch it to costume 2. See? Okay, I'm not going to go really that deep into it because I am going to do that for the next tutorial. So, next. And this is sounds. Basic sounds is play meow. Or play sound meow until done. Or stop all sounds. See? It just got stopped. I just interrupted his meow. Now you can stop meowing, cat. Next is pen. I'm not going over this. Because you really don't need this. You really don't need to know this until later on. So I'll just explain this once we get to the pen tutorials. Now we have data. So we all know what a variable is. We learned this in math, and a variable is basically something that represents a number. But right in this case, it can actually represent a letter or a word, or just for example, I'm going to type in the variable. You can give it any name you want, and once you make a name, you see these things pop up. You can set U to whatever you want. 78 or 69. Or, like I said, you can set it to a sentence. I don't care if I spelled that wrong. And you can also make a list. A list is like a variable, except you can add an infinite amount of items to it. So for example, I'm naming it T. But you can't actually name the list the same thing as a variable. It just won't work. So you're going to have to find a new and original name. I'm going to add a thing to T. I'm going to add another thing to T. I'm going to add a billion things to T. So that covers the variables. Oh, and this little check mark is whether it shows or hides. When it's ticked, it is showing. When it's not ticked, it's hiding. Next, we have events, which is arguably the most important one, because without events, you just can't do these things. Let me show this again. So, an event. One green flag click, this is the green flag, add entity. So, see, a thing got added. Or one space clicked, add entity. Yeah, they're spamming the space right now. Just like that. Okay, so, yep, this is simple. Next we have the controls. Ooh, see this repeat box? Instead of add entity, add P. So, this allows you to repeat however many times you want. In this case, I want to repeat 2 times for the part of simplicity. See? 2 more P's got added. So, then there are the trusty forever statements. It just does something forever. It never stops. And there, my wonderful list just keeps getting longer and longer. Okay, so then there are the if-else statements. So if you put something in the inside of it, it only runs the script of code if whatever in this hexagon is evaluated as true. If it's false, it's not going to run it. Okay, I think that covers the majority that you need to know for the operations. Then we have sensing. Okay, so for sensing, let's see. Okay, so there's touching mouse pointer. See how this is a hexagonal shape? It's made perfectly for fitting in here. I'm just going to show you a simple example. So once I click the green flag, it's going to forever evaluate. If it's touching mouse pointer, it's going to think, oh, whoops. I didn't show you the second part. But I'll show you the second part in the next tutorial. So, no problems there. Then there's if touching color. So, if touching color white, this is useless too. Yeah, it's touching white because the background is white. You click on it and then you can change the color to, I like this shade of color. It just looks good. Okay, then we have, oh wait, I forgot about this. So there's also, space, which is like, it's basically the same thing as this, except you're gonna need an if statement. And mouse down is this, just if your mouse is being clicked, or if you hold. Depends on which one you do. Then we finally have operators. My favorite part because I love math. So, it's basically operating like math and stuff. So there's the addition, subtraction. Okay, so you might be thinking, where's the multiplication and where's the division? But in coding, we don't actually have the multiplication. So it actually is the asterisk. Just press Shift and 8. Then we have the, I forget, is this the forward slash or the backslash? Okay, I think this is yes, this is the forward slash. And that's the division. So for example, 7 plus 8 equals 15. Or what is 8 divided by 2, and it's equal to 4. So that's a neat trick. Then there's the pick random, where it generates a random number between a selected value, which I picked 9, a selected value, which is 700, and just randomly generates one, which was 174, 345, 576, and you get it. Then we have equal. So, is 7 plus 8 equal to 8 divided by 2? No, because 15 is not equal to 4. But is 1 equal with 1? And yes, it's true. So it's the same thing with these greater than and smaller than blocks, and that covers it. I'll talk about this in the next tutorial. Oh, and I'll talk about this too in not the next tutorial, but like the tutorials to follow once we actually do some interesting coding. See you in the next tutorial.